some people don't have their microphones muted, which really does need to happen before we can continue as seamlessly as possible. Could I ask everybody who's on the call to leave their camera on, but please mute your microphone? If that's Mr. and Mrs. Preston, I don't know if you can hear me or not. I suspect you can't, but you appear to have joined the meeting twice, but as long as both your microphones are muted, that should be okay for now. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Time to start our pre-examination meeting for the proposed Greystone Knowe wind farm, which has case number WIN-140-9. The application consists of the following elements: 14 wind turbines with a maximum tip height of 180 metres, and each turbine would have a rotor diameter of 150 metres. The generating capacity of each turbine will be in the region of 5 megawatts. The proposal also includes a battery storage facility, 2 permanent meteorological masts, a new access road, and approximately 12 kilometres of access tracks, which will remain in situ throughout the lifetime of the proposed development. There will be an operations control building on site, a substation compound, up to 3 borrow pits, and telecommunications equipment. Before we begin in earnest today, there are a number of housekeeping issues I'm going to run through. Please make sure your mobile phones are switched off or on silent mode for the entire meeting. If you have a WhatsApp group which is active for chat during this meeting, please ensure that your notifications are switched to silent. Your cameras should be switched on for the duration of the meeting, but your microphone should be muted except for when you are speaking. So if I could have cameras on, that would be useful. If you have a question at any point, please raise your hand. If your camera isn't on, I won't be able to see your hand. The meeting today is being live streamed and it will remain available for view on the DPA webcast website. By participating in today's event, you are consenting to the recording, storage, and making use of this material for the purposes of webcast training, keeping records, and making those records available to the public. My name is Sinead Lynch, and I am a reporter with the Scottish Government Planning and Environmental Appeals Division, or DPEA as it is commonly called. I've been appointed by Scottish ministers to conduct this inquiry, which is held under Section 36 of the Electricity Act 1989. Following this inquiry, I will prepare a report for Scottish ministers. It will be then for them to decide whether or not to approve the application. I will be chairing the meeting today, and Lucy Wakeham is also on hand from DPA IT Services to cover any technical issues that may arise. You will have access to Lucy during this meeting. Should you have any technical issues, you could, in the first instance, email Lucy on lucy.wakeham@gov.scot. I will be taking a note of the matters discussed at this meeting, so you may need to bear with me from time to time as I pause to take notes or review what has already been said. I will issue a note of this meeting within a week, so by the 29th of August, we will all have a note of what has been discussed at this meeting and my conclusions. This note will confirm key procedures and timeframes which we have discussed today. You will be aware that the purpose of today's meeting is to discuss the arrangements for the examination of this application and the inquiry process. It is not in itself part of the inquiry, and we will not be discussing the merits or otherwise of the case today. You all received a meeting agenda, and that set out my initial thinking on the process to be followed on each matter to be examined. I hope to progress through that agenda fairly quickly and focusing particularly on any matters which need discussion today. We have had a matter raised by the applicant, which, following introductions of the parties, I would actually like to move straight to. We'll get to that just before we begin agenda item 3, and you will see, it will become clear why we are moving to that at that point. But initially, I would like to move to agenda item 2, which is the introduction of parties' representatives. I would like to invite the lead participant for each party to introduce themselves and the members of their team, and to indicate whether or not they anticipate any additional witnesses or parties being involved in any further procedure. For your information, Stowe Community Council and an individual, Mr. S. Lucking, have each withdrawn from the oral process. And I have also received apologies from Stowe Cycle Hub for attending today's pre-examination meeting, but they will be participating in any future process. Could I first turn to the applicant, and could I ask that you introduce yourself and the members of your team and the part that each member will play moving forward?
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon. My name is Marcus Trinick. I'm a solicitor of King's Counsel. I'm instructed by Amy Howard of Wright Johnson Mackenzie, whose name appears Amy McDougall on your screen.
Yes.
That was her pre-married name. So Amy McDougall is Amy Howard. Also on the screen, you will see Alison Sidgwick, who in due course would be the planning witness. And those are my team, as far as I can see it on the screen. Do you wish me to introduce others who are part of the witness team, or not yet?
Not yet. I was anticipating a Mr. Fraser Gillies.
Mr. Gillies is live streaming somewhere, but as far as I know, he may be on the screen, but he's not going to play any further part in this meeting.
Okay. No, that will do for now. Thank you, Mr. Trinick. And for the council, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Thompson and I'm a solicitor representing the council. I appear myself today. We do anticipate 2 witnesses. That is a work in progress at this time. I don't anticipate that being a difficulty. Part of it is slightly relating to which dates we ultimately find ourselves fixing the inquiry for, but I would be able to inform the DPAA very quickly as to who those witnesses would be after today.
Could you confirm now, Ms. Thompson, which area those witnesses would be addressing, even if you don't know the individual?
We would have a planning witness and a landscape and visual, and a witness to speak to landscape and visual impact.
Lovely, thank you very much. Next, could we move to the Ministry of Defence?
Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Douglas Milne. I am a partner at Morton Fraser McRoberts, and I'm instructed on behalf of the Ministry of Defence today by Mr. Desmond Egan of the Defence Infrastructure Organisation and Mr. James Houghton, also of DIO. They are both on this Teams call this afternoon. I'm also joined virtually by one of my colleagues, Mr. Douglas Harvey. What the MOD's role in the proceedings will be and the witnesses who would be led will really depend on the outcome of this discussion today. Ma'am, I could go through who those witnesses may be, but perhaps that's something to be kept in reserve till we get to the detailed discussion about the MOD's objection.
Okay, I think that is probably a good idea. Thank you very much, Mr. Milne. Could we move to Racial Holdings Limited? I have seen Mr. Kelly on my screen, and is Ms. Leslie here today?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Yes, I'm leading for Racial this afternoon. Ian Kelly, planning consultant, and Susan Leslie is also on the call to assist me as required this afternoon. Again, if you wanted to discuss the witnesses at a later stage, we can do so, but we've set that out in the 2 letters that have gone to you recently. Thank you.
Yes, and Mr. Kelly, could you confirm? Yes, actually, we'll come on to your witnesses if we get to the topic areas. Mr. Campbell, if we could move to you and the parties you are representing and anybody who will be a member of that party?
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm John Campbell. I'm a King's Counsel. I'm instructed by solicitors in this case for Harriet Community Council, for the Fountain Hall Action Group, and for Messrs. A.I. Walgate and some farmers as Corsos. I anticipate calling witnesses in the areas of policy, landscape and visual impact assessment, possibly ornithology, and certainly matters of neighbourhood interest. I may put it in that broad way just now.
Yep.
I've not yet finished identifying the witness team, and there doesn't seem a lot of point in giving you names now if they're going to change. So
No.
what I'd undertake is to let the office know as soon as the list is finalised.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Mr. Campbell. Could I just clarify, you are not representing the Scottish Ornithologists Club?
Ma'am, I am not.
If we could then move on to some of the other groups who've indicated that they wish to take part. As I said, I have apologies from Stowe Cycle Hub. Do I have anybody from Stowe Community Trust here today? No? Okay, and the Scottish Ornithologists Club? So these are parties who indicated that they were going to take part in the oral process moving forward. But if they're not here today, that is also fine. I have a number of individuals who indicated that they also wish to take part in the oral process. I have P&P Nelson, if they are attending today. Hello. I have a Mr. Williams.
Mr. Williams is the chairman of Harriet Community Council. He's on holiday at the moment. He wouldn't be attending on his own behalf anyway.
Okay. I have a Ms. Henderson. No. Okay. So those are the people I had noted who had given notice that they wished to take part. Are there any other parties here today who wish to take an active part in the proceedings moving forward, as opposed to simply attending this meeting today? Mr. Campbell, I can see your hand up.
With apologies to him, I should have introduced you to Mr. Gavin Whitaker, who is online, who is the vice chairman of Harriet Community Council.
Right, I see Mr. Whitaker.
I anticipate that he will be a witness, but in what capacity, it's not immediately clear.
Okay.
Sure.
Thanks, Mr. Whitaker. Noted. So any other party at this stage who intends to take part attending? If not, we will break with the agenda. Oh, sorry, I've got a lady holding her hand up whom I can't, there's no name ascribed to you on my screen, simply the initial M.
Yes, I'm sorry about that, ma'am. I did try to put my name in, but it didn't work. My name is Morel Smith. And I am part of the Fountain Hall Action Group.
Okay. And you're being represented by Mr. Campbell?
I am.
Yes, lovely. Thank you very much, Ms. Smith.
Well,
Thank you. Right, in moving to this extra agenda item, I will introduce it, and it will become clear as I introduce it why this is an extra agenda item. As of this morning, the applicant has requested that this PEM be postponed from today and to be held at a later point this year. That request was made quite late this morning, so really not possible to postpone the PEM, but better to, in my mind, to discuss it now and reach a decision. The request has been made by the applicant to enable them to make further progress towards a resolution of the Eskdale Muir issue. They in themselves not making progress towards it, but certainly informing this process of progress. Counsel for the applicant has asked to address this suggestion. So I am going to move that we hear from them, and I will then open it up to other parties for their comments following any questions I may have on the matter. So initially, Mr. Trinick is going to speak to the applicant's suggestion. I do apologise that this is without notice, but it simply wasn't possible given that it arrived in at 10 to 12 this morning to work out exactly how to notify everybody with an indication of what was going to happen. However, given that the applicant is willing to explain their position to us, I'm very happy to hear it. And as I said, I have a number of questions. I may have more questions depending on what I hear, and then I will open it up to all other parties for comment. And then I'm going to suggest that I will take a short break and consider what I have heard and come back and let you know how we will all be proceeding. Is everybody content with that approach? Yes, in which case, Mr. Trinick, would you like to begin?
Yes, thank you, ma'am. I think the request this morning was not intended to be that this PEM should be postponed, but that the matter which I'm about to address should be addressed at the PEM. The idea being that there might be a future PEM down the road. Now, what I want to address relates to the topic of Eskdale Muir, and I'll refer to all the correspondence that's been passing to and fro in the last few days, and notably your letter, the DPE letter, the 15th of August, the WJM letter of the 19th of August, and other communications from Murray Beath Murray and from John Campbell of the 19th of August. I should say at the outset that the applicant's position in relation to the MAD objection has not changed. We do not challenge that objection on a technical basis, nor do we seek a suspensive condition to overcome the objection. That hasn't changed. What we have done since the 19th of August is to look carefully at what other parties have said. And as a result, our position has changed. We do not assist of the whole of the inquiry. Instead, what we ask for is that there should be assist to a further pre-examination meeting, which I suggest should be heard to take place in late November, roughly. There's no magic in late November, it might be early December. At that second pre-examination meeting, we can review progress on the Eskdale Muir, the various initiatives which are going on in relation to Eskdale Muir at the moment, and see where we sit. If at that stage we are content that you can fulfill your minute and hold the whole inquiry and report on all issues to the ministers, then fine, we can go ahead. But if at that stage it is clear that while progress is being made in relation to Eskdale Muir, nonetheless, we can't look ahead and say there will be a resolution of the issue by a certain date, then I may be asking for a further PEM to further review the matter at a later date. We'll see what happens at the second PEM. I think that approach answers the concerns which we've read and taken on board and understand about other parties incurring costs, about the possible need to revisit landscape and visual issues if the inquiry did proceed in December, and then we might have to come back at a later date. But it keeps the process going, and it is a decision for you, I believe, and not the Energy Consents Unit. You can manage the inquiry as you see fit. So that is the request. Now, why do I have the confidence to suggest a PEM at this stage? Well, you've already read from the WJM letter about the sector deal commitment by the government to take positive action in relation to the Estelmere seismic array. You will have read about the Estelmere working group and the work being carried out by that group or under its auspices. You read in one of the communications from Wright Johnson Mackenzie about the creation of a subgroup within the UK Onshore Wind Task Force just formed. One of the remits of that task force, that subgroup rather, will be to look at Estelmere and try and push the matter forward. Douglas Knowe will speak for the MOD to this, and I don't want to cut across his bows, but the specific work which is going on at the moment is, first of all, the MOD has said publicly that it will consult, and that's in the MOD, the minutes of the Estelmere working group, consult on a new approach to the management of applications for development in the 50-kilometre consultation zone surrounding the seismic array. Mr. Milne can tell you more about exactly when that consultation will take place. At the same time, and perhaps I should declare an interest, I do sit on the Estelmere working group myself, and I'm on the subgroup of the task force. The Scottish Government will itself be consulting on a new approach to Estelmere, its role being the optimisation of development within the zone. The MOD's role is simply to protect the array. They're the two remits of the remits of the MOD and the government. XI Engineering is the company which is looking at the technical side of Estelmere, is progressing various work packages to enable and underpin the fulfilment of the sector deal declaration commitment. I can't tell you, sitting here, exactly when the ceiling of the budgetary ceiling for Estelmere will allow more new wind energy development to take place. I can't tell you that. What I can say is that the matter is being addressed with a considerable urgency by the UK government, by the Scottish government, by the MOD, whose initiatives we welcome. There's no fault attached to them at all, and by industry, with the hope that there could be a budgetary release enabling new development. We hope in 2025, but I can't say more than that. Now, Greystone now is one of a number of applications coming forward within the zone. The exact number, but there are quite a few. All of them are stalled for the moment because of justifiable MOD objections, and therefore Greystone now is not the only one in this particular basket. Ma'am, I'm sure you've got questions. I don't want to rabbit on and tell you things you don't need to know, so I'll leave my request there and wait for you to come back to me.
Lovely. Thank you, Mr. Trinick. The questions I have are really in relation to surety and timeframes. What steps will you be taking to provide me with an indication of, I understand completely it is difficult to give definitive timeframes, but in terms of the working group and the subgroup, are there scheduled meetings to take place before the end of November that I could be sure that these matters will at least be discussed and perhaps indications of timeframes given? Is that something that is happening? If you say the end of November, early December, is there sort of a meeting schedule that would give me comfort that I may get something from those meetings via yourselves?
Yes, ma'am. The next meeting of the Estelmere working group, Mr. Mill may correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's on the mid-September. Sometime I can look it up in the diary. Mid-September.
Mid-September. And are these monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly meetings?
They're likely to become monthly meetings. They have been bi-monthly. They're likely, or even quarterly. But with the new initiatives, they're likely to be monthly, I think, going forward. I can give you the exact date if you will bear with me. I can give you the date of the first meeting of the Aviation and Defence subgroup of the UK task force. That is on the 28th of August.
Okay.
And SDLMU and initiatives relating to it will be discussed at that meeting.
Okay.
So the SDLMU working group is meeting in September, task force subgroup meeting, and that subgroup is due to report on what it's achieved by the end of 2024. That is the target of Secretary of State Miliband. So we have a fairly tight timescale to operate within.
And in terms of the sector deal commitment and draft guidance, is there an indication for a publication date for that at this stage?
Just something what's in the minutes of the EWG. The guidance document from the government has been partly drafted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the person drafting it, so
Right.
so but it's partly drafted. It's being consulted upon with the MOD. Further technical work packages have to be completed before more drafting can take place. But the idea is to try and release it for public a 12-week public consultation, either late this year or early next year, is the best I can say.
Okay. So that would be a 12-week consultation period.
Yes, the standard government consultation period. So there are initiatives progressing, but I'm being very wary not to try and give you certain dates because I can't.
Okay, no, I understand that. If after 3 to 4 months from this date, you have no concrete or reasonably certain timeline, not date, is it anticipated that any postponed PM or second PM really would then trigger the inquiry process on all the matters, including SDLMUIR? I did note in that you earlier said that you might seek a second postponement to a third PEM.
Yes,
if that timeline was not available.
Yes, I hope it is, but I can't guarantee it, and that is why this inquiry has got to proceed at some date, and you've had the minute of appointment to hold it. But at the moment, we have agreed reluctantly that you're not in a position to hold a complete inquiry. We hope that we'll be able to say in 3 months, by the end of November, yes, we can do this, but if we can't, and I believe the right thing to do is to review matters at a further pre-examination meeting at whatever date we then agree is appropriate.
Okay, right. So, in effect, we would assist from this point with the intention of holding a further PM and update in late November, early December 2024.
Yes, ma'am. That's my request.
Right. Those are my questions for now. If I did agree to that course of action, I would be seeking monthly updates on progress to be very sure. You will be aware that assisting without any possibility of a horizon is not satisfactory. This is an application that has been with ECU and in the process for quite some time. There are quite a few parties invested in its progress. So I am keen to make sure that we move ahead, but I'm also keen to be fair and reasonable. And if there is the prospect of an indication of how the capacity at SDLMUIR might be resolved, I agree it would be better to be able to examine that than to move ahead and not do that. I think Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I'm just, I said there are other applications in the offing. There are indeed other Section 36 applications. I need to name them within the consultation zone, which are coming behind Greystone. And if they are objected to by the relevant planning authorities, we're going to end up in the same position. So we are one of a number.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Could I move to the MOD for, well, first of all, your comment, and then I have some questions which I hope you will be able to answer. But Mr. Milne, if you could perhaps respond, and again, I apologise for the no notice given of this agenda item, but as I said, it is important that we address it.
Thank you, ma'am. No need for any apologies, of course. I hope that I, on behalf of the MOD, are able to assist with your consideration of this particular motion. The first thing to note, really for the sake of good order, is that the MOD, of course, does maintain its objection to this particular application, and that's on the basis that there is no part of this threshold that we talk about available which could accommodate the additional seismic ground vibration from the Greystone development. However, that is certainly not to say that the MOD is anything other than significantly invested in working through the Eskdalemuir working group convened by the Scottish ministers to try to find a solution to the Eskdalemuir issue. And there are a number of things which are happening in that respect. Mr. Trinick quite rightly referred to the MOD's intended consultation regarding its management approach. The MOD has a draft consultation document ready and is anticipating starting that consultation process, a 12-week consultation, as you've already referred to, in the near future. And I can't be any more certain than that because of a couple of administrative issues which need to be ironed out. First of all, what I would like to stress, and this is important, is that the MOD's consultation, without prejudice to what the outcome of that will be and what any policy will look like, is certainly not anticipated to directly benefit this application in terms of making any part of the threshold available. That comes through the work which the Scottish Government is undertaking, the work under the auspices of the Eskdalemuir Working Group to which Mr. Trinick referred. So I wouldn't want to mislead by referring to the MOD's proposed consultation and suggesting that that somehow fixes a timescale for a solution to the Eskdalemuir problem. The work of the Scottish Government, as I say, the MOD is very invested in seeking a solution there. What's important to understand in that respect, and this really, of course, is to agree with what Mr. Trinick is saying, the Scottish Government is intending to consult on policy or guidance, and that is in the process of being drafted, but that cannot be progressed until a number of technical work packages have been instructed to be undertaken. Work has been done pursuant to those work packages. Report has been forthcoming, and the MOD, through its subject matter expert, is able to analyse the output of those work packages. And there need to be resultant drafting of the Scottish Government policy. So there is a real commitment to finding a solution to this issue, but the MOD would not want to be committing to any particular timescale. It's happy to go on record as being committed to the work, but can't commit to any specific timescale. So we have the MOD consultation, we have the Scottish Government led work packages on technical matters, and we have the Scottish Government guidance which is to be consulted upon. And that's the work which will need to be completed in order to ascertain if there is capacity within this threshold in a way which can be used to enable further development to proceed. Ma'am, in conclusion at this particular point, in terms of Mr. Trinick's request for assist for a postponement in terms of when our next pre-examination meeting will take place, the MOD is entirely neutral on that and is quite content, of course, to leave that decision in your hands where it rightly lies in terms of what does happen next, and the MOD will continue to assist in this process in any way that it can to ensure that you have a full and proper understanding of these issues, surety and timescale.
Thank you, Mr. Milne. I do have one question going back to the technical work packages that are part of the Scottish Government-led initiative. You might not know this, but are those instructed and underway?
That I don't know, because this is work being led through the SWMO working group. The role of the MOD and its subject matter expert will be to offer assistance and guidance in terms of those work packages, but the MOD is not leading on those, it's not instructing those.
Okay, I see Mr. Trinick's hand going up. I suspect it's something you might know, Mr. Trinick.
Yes, ma'am. There are roughly 7 or 8 work packages in total. One I know is underway at the moment. It's to produce a flow chart of some kind. 2 others are about to be instructed, and the other should be instructed shortly. I can't say exactly when shortly is.
Okay.
But they're being funded by various sources, but mainly by the industry.
And without going into any huge detail, are these work packages, in terms of the time required to deliver them, are they lengthy? Are we talking years or months or?
No, ma'am, they're not. The work packages themselves are not lengthy. A lot of the work is being partly done already. It's a matter of bringing existing streams of work together into a work package. I can't answer for how, obviously, and I'm not sure Mr. Milne will be able to answer at the moment, how long the MOD will need to verify those work packages once they've been completed. I can provide you with more detail after this meeting if you wish.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Trinick. If we could move to Scottish Borders Council for any comment on this matter. I know, and I note from your committee reports that the Eskdale Muir seismic array is not necessarily within your remit as planning authority, and that there wasn't comment on it in your committee reports. So I'll just double check if you do have any comment on this matter, but maybe just in relation to the impact on the process of this examination.
I have no comment in particular. It was not a matter of consideration and it did not form part of the objection on the part of the planning authority. I do think if there is to be any CIST, having a date to focus on would allow focus to the process, but I'm otherwise in your hands as far as how things move forward.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Ms. Thompson. Could we move now to Racial Holdings for comment?
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Trinick kindly alerted us to this potential motion this morning, so I was able to discuss it with senior counsel. Our position is that whilst the requested CIST is not the ideal way forward, we'd have preferred the case to go back to the ECU. We are prepared to be pragmatic and not resist the request for CIST. If you are minded to agree it, ma'am. What I would suggest, though, picking up from some of the comments you've made yourself, is perhaps if you agree to assist, we could maybe pick a date for the second PEM. I was thinking maybe the 16th, 17th or 18th December, where these had been possible inquiry dates. What I had in mind would be if the applicant or the applicant and the MOD could provide a comprehensive update at the end of November. Then if any parties had any submissions they wished to make, they could make them to you in advance of the second PEM. Just also reflecting on what the council said, we will not be looking to lead or take part in any technical evidence at all on Eskdalemuir.
Yeah.
The interest of Rayshaw is purely on fair process.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Mr. Campbell, could I move to you, please?
Thank you. I'm obliged to my learned friend, Mr. Chinick, and to Mr. Milne for their very clear explanations. Like Mr. Kelly's clients, we have no interest in the technical aspects of the potential release of budget for Eskdalemuir. But as the host communities, of course, we have a very real interest in progress with the inquiry. So our emphasis, like yours, as it seems to me, is on tight timeframes where possible. Otherwise, there will be an inevitable, how do I put it, an inevitable endurance test for the communities in delay after delay after delay, while the official part of whichever government it is makes its mind up about these issues. So, Broman with Mr. Kelly, it won't be lost on you that a lot of work has been done already. It'll be a question for later whether it's unreasonable for the applicants to have come this far and to be stepping aside at the last moment. But I leave that for now.
Okay, thanks. Can I say then you are neutral in terms of the request and you certainly don't oppose it?
You can,
That'd
yes.
be fair. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Campbell. So in terms of other parties, I think that was everybody attending today who wished to comment. Any other comments from any other party on what we have heard? Just people are split over two screens for me, which is a little difficult. So I'm just double checking to make sure I can see if there is any hand. There doesn't appear to be. So the time is now 14:43. What I am going to suggest is that we break until 3 p.m. I'm going to give this matter some thought. I would assure you I'm not going to give it 17 minutes thought. I have been thinking about this since the request came in this morning. And having heard from you all, which is appreciated, I will consider what I've heard and we will reconvene at 3 o'clock and I will let you know how we will be proceeding. Is that okay with everybody? Lovely. Thank you very much. If you would like to mute your microphones and you may switch off your cameras, could I ask when we come back that you do switch your camera on so that I can see all parties? That would be appreciated. See you all at 3 o'clock. Thank you.
Highlight one vote. Oh, yeah, it's gonna be easier than that.
John.
Do wish to still have two Mr. Prestons, whoever he is.
You're also unverified, John, as well. Sad to see you're unverified. There we are.
That's not what
He means he may be John Campbell, or he may not be. Don't know.
I think he is. I think he is.
Oh, that might be a clone or an avatar, is it? Is that the right word?
An avatar, yeah.
Hologram, perhaps.
My name is speaking. You can hear things, so that's good.
You managed to speak to Mr. Preston, did you?
I did. And
Right.
he's able to hear things. I don't know why there's two, but he can hear. So he's following what's going on.
Very strange.
Welcome back, everybody. 3 p.m. Thank you for your timely reappearances. I have considered all of your comments and thank you for your input. I would start by saying that I recognise you are all committed to finding a resolution to this matter, which is commendable. However, I still feel there is a lot of uncertainty about the time frame for the delivery of any guidance that would enable us to move forward. I haven't heard of any definitive timescale from any party, and that has led me to think that there is probably quite a lot of difficulty in seeing this inquiry beginning in 6 months to a year, which is quite a significant period of time. However, as I said, I do agree that I recognise that a resolution to this is being sought and is actively being sought by the various working groups and subcommittees working on it. What I am going to suggest, rather than a sit until the end of November, early December, is actually assist until the end of September this year. Mr. Trinick, you indicated earlier that there was a subgroup meeting on the 28th of August and then an Eskdale Muir working group meeting mid-September. What I would like and what I would expect at a further PM at the end of September would be an update on positions, which should be available to you following those meetings. At that PM, I would forewarn you that unless I can see some certainty in terms of delivery timescales, then we will have to proceed to inquiry, whichever process that may end up being. I'll give you an opportunity to comment on that suggestion, and I'll start with Mr. Trinick.
Ma'am, that's your ruling, and I accept your ruling. Obviously, I'm not going to argue the point of being inappropriate. We will provide you with the update you require in writing in advance of the September 2nd pre-examination meeting. That is fine. I think probably my forewarning in turn is that if the following that pre-examination meeting, the inquiry does proceed, then I may revisit the question of an administrative delay once the report gets to the ECU, but that's between me and the ECU and not between me and you.
Indeed. Indeed. Right, appreciated. Any other comments from any other party at this stage? Mr. Kelly.
Ma'am, just a very practical point. I'm on holiday for much of the end of September, and I would prefer if you picked a if you postponed this PM till the first week in October, say Tuesday the 1st or Wednesday the 2nd. It's only a few days later than you would have envisaged, ma'am.
I will note that. What I will do, and certainly for the purposes of those of you who don't routinely take part in these proceedings, and I know there's quite a few of you attending this PM today, what will happen from here is assist means that the application goes into almost an administrative delay. So I don't do further work on it. We may do some admin on it, while the applicant and any other party goes away, answers the questions that we have asked today, provides us with an update on the working groups and the subcommittees and subgroups in relation to Eskdale Muir. We won't continue with the agenda items today because really there is very little point. We will reconvene late September, early October, a date which I will confirm in the note of this meeting. If you can, in the intervening period between now and the 29th of September, if you could let Christine Brown, who is the case officer, if you could let her know of any absolute dates you cannot make, that would be very useful. It will save a bit of time in toing and froing. We'll reconvene with a virtual PM. So in exactly the same format, the link will be sent to you by Christine or our IT department, and we will do this again. I would say that it is more likely to be early October than late September. Our IT department is incredibly busy with various procedures. So we will find a relevant date. I will include that in the note of this meeting, so you will see that. I will also include in the note a specific request to the applicant to provide that update following those two meetings, and that will be circulated to all parties to these proceedings. So you will see that in advance of the PEM. Is everybody happy with that suggested approach? Mr. Trinick?
Yes, I'm perfectly happy, ma'am. My only question is, in terms of the information that you need to be provided, I probably need to know how far we need to backtrack. In other words, do you want to be provided with a full understanding of the issue, never mind the steps which are going to be taken? How far do you want us to?
No, I will not need any technical background or any information at all on the issue itself. What I am very much looking for is a timeline. Thanks, Mr. Trinick. Did Mr. Campbell, was that your hand raised or no?
You need to signify if you're happy with your ruling at all.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Campbell.
Thank you.
Any comments from any other party? I'm just going to check. As I said, you're on two screens. So no, I don't see any other hand raised. So Thank you all for your attendance today. I think that was very useful, and I hope that all parties can give some thought to the second PEM, and that when we reconvene, that we will be able to pinpoint a way forward for this application. So what you can expect in terms of next actions are a note of this meeting from me by the very latest next Thursday. It may be earlier, and that will indicate what we've discussed today, a summary of expected actions moving forward, and a date for that meeting. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please contact Christine, our case officer. If you have holiday dates, as I said, please let Christine know as soon as possible, and we will, as far as possible, accommodate those. If there are no other matters that are of relevance to be raised today, I am going to close this meeting, and thank you very much for your participation today. Thank you all.